Verse 44, turning to the woman, so now he's looking down at the woman, he says to Simon, "You see this woman?" Probably looking at her right in the eyes. Do you see this woman? Not, "Do you see this sinner?" I know what you're thinking. Not, "Do you see this person with a checkered past? Do you see this social outcast who's made a ton of mistakes in her life?" She's a woman. Do you see her? Do you see this beautiful creation of God made in the image of God sitting in front of you? This precious woman with tears flowing down her cheeks, this precious woman pouring out her praise to God. Do you see her? Not a reputation, not whatever you think you know about her. Do you see her? Sometimes we don't see people. We see their reputation, we see their clothes, we see whatever. I'm going to tell you about a friend I have named Shane. And it's a new friend. He's a dude at the homeless camp. Looks a little different than the other guys. He wears dresses. He always goes to the women's tote, picks out things all glittery and women's shoes and all this stuff. Most of the people there treat him fairly well at the homeless camps, but even there, some people don't see him. They see a problem. They see his clothes. His campsite made the news a few weeks ago, about a month ago. Maybe you remember seeing or hearing or reading about this. Several propane tanks near his tent exploded, and there was a big fire, and everybody came out there. They put the fire out. I was talking to him 2 weeks ago, and he said, "Yeah, that was my tent. That was my camp out place. I'm pretty sure they were trying to kill me. I mean, multiple propane tanks don't just accidentally blow up, you know." Like, whoa, that's pretty serious, pretty crazy. And we had a conversation a couple weeks ago, and they weren't trying to shame him. They weren't trying to embarrass him. They were trying to kill him, right? So I asked, "Well, what do you sleep in? Do you have a tent?" "Well, I got a borrowed tent." "You need a tent?" "Yeah." I said, "Okay. Could you use a little extra shelter around?" A lot of them have shelters, pallets, whatever, things they put together just to kind of protect them from the wind and the weather and stuff. So, "Oh man, I could really use something like that." It's okay. I'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll see ya. So we show up yesterday, and when I saw him, I said, "Dude, I got something for you." And he was all excited, man. He was like, "Really? Like, you really did?" "Yeah." And I helped him load this bamboo fence I was going to throw away. I was using it for the Hippo Valley Christian Mission, making a hut and all that stuff. You've seen it around here, but it was just a super heavy, 100-pound thing. There was just no way. I'm going to get rid of this thing. I put it in the trailer, just waiting for a time to get the trailer back out there. And that was yesterday. Grabbed that. He brought his bike so you could see how he, really pretty ingenious, how he had a little trailer set up for it. We put it on there, brought a tent, I got it at the camp auction, and I bought a few tents there, and we loaded him up with that and other goodies, and had a great conversation, a great conversation yesterday. And I was thinking last night, I'm just kind of reviewing my day, you know, I often do that, and like, what's going on, what did I do, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of struck me. I thought, you know, that's not my normal reaction to seeing a dude in a dress. I say that to my shame. I don't normally see the person. I see what they're wearing doesn't match. I see something that makes me uncomfortable. And my first inclination generally isn't to go out of my way to help them. But I did this time. Matter of fact, what's really weird, from the conversation 2 weeks earlier, I couldn't have told you I knew there was some guy that wears a dress. I couldn't have told you. I was actually surprised yesterday. I said, where's Sean? Sean. I got to write it down because I kept changing it in my head. Where is he? And they said it was right here. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's the dude in the dress. had no idea, no idea. Because I wasn't looking at that 2 weeks ago, which is kind of refreshing for myself to think of that way. And we had a great conversation. I used, pronouns, nouns that some people might get angry. And he didn't care. He wasn't worried about if I called him a man or a him or a her or whatever. He was just like thrilled that someone loved him enough to give him a tent and some shelter. And I'd like to say that I'm a really spiritual guy and I only see people as God sees them, but I also know that's a work in process. Because oftentimes I don't. What I saw 2 weeks ago was a beautiful creation of God that needed help. And God said, you're going to help this person. They have a need. And you're going to do it. And that's all I saw. That's all I cared about. I can share with him. Now we have a relationship built. We're going to build on that thing. And I can't wait to be able to share with him in a more personal way God's ability and desire to forgive his sins, whatever they are. None of my business. I don't care what they are. Because that's what he does for people like you and I. By the way, guess who's moved into the top 5 prayer list? For me. See, if I were honest, if I were at the Pharisee's house that day, I would have seen the sinner. I would have been like, what is that woman doing? Rubbing her hair all over Jesus' feet, kissing his feet. This is inappropriate. I wouldn't have seen the woman Jesus loved enough to die for just a short time later. I think that's what Simon's telling, or Jesus is telling Simon here. Do you see this woman, this person, this human being, this valuable child of God? Never planned to have the life she has today. That wasn't her goal as a little girl growing up. Oh, I hope to become the center of the town. That wasn't it. She made a few mistakes. Never knew how to fix them. Just went with it. And here she is reconnecting with God. Jesus didn't tell Simon to agree with her past or affirm it or say celebrate it or say how wonderful that is. He just was getting him to see her as a person and to treat her as a person dearly loved by God. I think that's the lesson for us.